If you walk regularly and you're still dealing with knee pain, heavy tired legs, or a nagging feeling that you're getting worse instead of better, here's the uncomfortable truth. It's almost never that you're not walking enough that you're walking wrong. And wrong walking doesn't just waste your effort. It actively works against your joints, your posture, and your heart, while you think you're doing everything right. There are 7 specific mistakes almost everyone over 50 makes without realizing it, and by the time we get to the last one, you'll probably recognize yourself in at least 2 or 3. M. David Morgan. Let's start with why this actually matters, because walking after 50 isn't just a pleasant habit. It's doing real, measurable work inside your body every single time you do it, and every time you do it wrong. After 50, 4 things start shifting in your body, whether you notice them or not. Understanding them is what makes the 7 mistakes actually make sense, instead of just sounding like a list of rules. First, muscle. Starting around 50, most people lose roughly 1 to 2% of their total muscle mass every year. That sounds small, but stretched over a decade, it adds up to something you'll actually feel. And muscle isn't just about strength. It stabilizes your joints, helps regulate your blood sugar, and keeps your balance steady with every step. Lose enough of it, and everything downstream starts to wobble. Second, your joints. The cartilage cushioning your bones has no blood supply of its own. It gets nourished almost entirely through movement. Think of it like a sponge that only soaks up what it needs when it's being squeezed. Sit still for long stretches, and that cartilage is running dry. Over years, that's part of what contributes to osteoarthritis, and it's not inevitable, but the wrong habits can speed it along. This is exactly why people are sometimes told movement helps joint pain, and it sounds backwards at first. The joint isn't being worn down by walking correctly, it's being fed. The damage usually comes from the mechanical errors we're about to go through, not from movement itself. Third, your metabolism. Your resting metabolic rate, the calories you burn just staying alive, tends to drop a few % each decade after 50. Same habits that kept your weight steady at 30 can quietly stop working at 55. Fourth, circulation. Blood vessels lose some elasticity with age, and blood flow to your legs and feet becomes a little less efficient. That's often exactly why people notice cold feet or heavy legs by the end of the day. Walking touches all 4 of these systems at once. It works the muscle, feeds the cartilage, nudges the metabolism, supports circulation. But here's the part almost nobody says out loud. Get the mechanics wrong, and you don't just lose the benefit. You add a new problem on top of the old one. There's a 5th piece worth knowing too. Your bones. Bone density naturally declines with age, and weight-bearing movement, exactly what walking is one of the signals your body uses to maintain that density instead of letting it slide. Skip the movement, and that signal goes quiet. And a 6th, balance itself. The inner ear's balance system and your body's sense of its own position in space both tend to get slightly less precise with age. Walking regularly, done with attention, is actually one of the simplest ways to keep that system practiced and sharp. Mistake number 1, starting too fast. This is probably the single most common mistake I see at every fitness level. People step outside and go straight to full pace. It feels efficient. Why waste time easing in when you could just get moving? But your body isn't a car with a key you turn. It needs a runway before it can perform. Cold muscles are less elastic, which means a higher chance of tiny micro-tears that don't hurt today, but add up over months. Your joint fluid hasn't spread out yet, so your cartilage is starting to walk dry. And your heart rate and blood pressure spike faster than they need to. The fix costs you nothing. Spend the first 3 to 5 minutes of every walk deliberately slow, almost lazily slow. That's your body's warm-up lap. After that, your joints are lubricated, your muscles are warm, and you can pick up the pace properly. During those first few minutes, keep your steps shorter than your normal stride and let your breathing settle into a steady rhythm before you lengthen either one. Rushing the stride before your breathing catches up is its own small version of the same mistake. Mistake number 2, and this one is almost invisible until you know what to look for. Walking with your head jutting forward and your shoulders rolled down. Here's the mechanical reality. Your head weighs roughly 10 to 11 pounds when it sits directly over your spine. Move it just an inch or two forward, and the load your neck and upper back have to support multiplies several times over. Walk like that for half an hour, and you've been quietly loading your neck and shoulders the entire time. That stiff neck after a walk isn't a draft, and it isn't just age, it's mechanics. It doesn't stop at your neck either. A compressed chest and rounded shoulders keep your diaphragm from fully expanding. So you breathe shallow and get less oxygen exactly when your muscles need more of it. That's part of why 30 minutes can feel like an hour. Here's the fix. Picture a thin thread attached to the crown of your head, gently pulling you upward, not stiff, just lifted. Shoulders relaxed and slightly back. Eyes on the horizon, not the pavement. That's it. If you recognize yourself in this one, type the word posture in the comments. I genuinely want to know how many of you are catching this for the first time. Here's a quick way to actually feel correct posture instead of just imagining it. Stand with your heels, hips, shoulders, and the back of your head all lightly touching a wall. That's roughly your neutral alignment. Step away from the wall while trying to hold that same feeling. That's what you're aiming to carry into your walk. There's a side benefit here too, beyond the mechanics. Upright posture genuinely changes how people carry themselves and how confident they feel walking through the world, not just how their spine holds up. It's not vanity. It's the same alignment doing double duty. Mistake number 3, and it's the one people think about least, the wrong shoes. 2 things happen to your feet with age. The natural fat padding on your soles thins out, so there's less built-in shock absorption. And the muscles and ligaments supporting your arch can weaken, sometimes letting the arch collapse slightly. That means every impact from the ground has to travel somewhere. Ankle, knee, hip, lower back, and your shoes are the only things standing between that impact and your joints. Look for real cushioning in the heel and forefoot, arch support that follows your foot's natural shape rather than a rigid insert, and a sole flexible enough to bend where your foot naturally bends. And here's the detail. Almost everyone misses. The cushioning wears out from the inside long before the shoe looks worn on the outside. If you walk regularly, plan to replace them roughly once a year. One more nuance. A dedicated walking or running shoe usually serves you better than a flat-fashion sneaker or an old pair of loafers, even if those feel fine standing still. And if most of your walking is on uneven trails rather than flat pavement, a shoe with a slightly more supportive sole and better tread matters even more for stability. Mistake number 4. Walking rarely, but going long when you finally do. One big hour-long walk on the weekend, then nothing all week. It feels productive, but your body doesn't respond to occasional bursts. It responds to repeated signals. One walk a week is too quiet a signal for your heart, vessels, and muscles to actually adapt to. Worse, a single long walk after days of sitting still is a shock to unprepared muscles. And the soreness afterward often gets misread as my joints just can't handle walking anymore. Usually the joints are fine. The pattern is what's off. The target most research points to is 20 to 30 minutes on most days of the week, 5 or 6 shorter walks, not one long one. If that feels like a lot right now, start with 3 days and 10 minutes, then add a little every couple of weeks. A simple way to gauge the right pace for these walks. You should be able to hold a conversation without gasping, but find it hard to sing. That's the zone where your body actually gets the cardiovascular signal without tipping into overexertion. Mistake number 5. Arms that barely move. Stiff at your sides, stuffed in your pockets, or just hanging there. Walking is a whole body movement, not just a leg movement. Left leg forward, right arm forward, and back again. That cross pattern is wired into your nervous system, and it's what keeps the twisting load off your lower back with every step. When your arms stay still, your spine has to compensate by over-rotating, which is exactly the kind of thing that aggravates an already sensitive lower back. Moving arms also means more muscle engaged overall, better circulation, and steadier balance. You don't need the exaggerated pumping motion of a racewalker. Just bend your elbows loosely, around 90 degrees, and let them swing opposite your legs. Stop pinning your arms down. Most people feel the difference within a few walks. Mistake number 6, and this one didn't even exist a couple of decades ago. Walking with your phone in your hand. Start with posture. Looking down at a phone tilts your head forward even more than ordinary slouching, which stacks directly on top of mistake number 2. Then there's balance. After 50, the inner ear's balance system and your body's sense of its own position in space both get a little less precise. Your brain leans more heavily on your eyes to stay steady while walking. When your eyes are on a screen instead of the path, your brain loses its best source of information about uneven pavement, curbs, and sudden drops. And a fall after 50 is rarely just a scraped knee. It's often a wrist, a rib, or worse, a hip. The fix is exactly as simple as it sounds. Phone in your pocket. If you want music or a podcast, use earbuds and keep the screen out of your hands entirely. If this one's true for you most days, just type the word phone below. No explanation needed. I just want a sense of how common this actually is. Mistake number 7. And almost nobody talks about this one anywhere. Not in a clinic, not in a gym. Ignoring recovery after the walk is over. Muscle tissue is mostly water, and every process involved in repairing it afterward happens in a water-based environment. Even mild dehydration measurably slows that recovery and raises the odds of cramping. A glass of water after your walk isn't a wellness trend. It's basic physiology. Then there's stretching. Walking contracts your muscles repeatedly without lengthening them, so they stay slightly shortened afterward unless you counter that. Over time, that's part of what builds the stiffness people chalk up to just getting older. 5 minutes of gentle stretching afterward, especially calves, hamstrings, and lower back, prevents most of it. And rest days aren't laziness. Your body doesn't adapt during the walk itself. It adapts afterward, while muscle fibers repair and your cardiovascular system quietly upgrades itself. 1 or 2 rest days a week is part of the plan, not a break from it. One more piece of recovery people overlook. Protein. Muscle repair needs building material, not just rest. A source of protein within a couple of hours after a walk, eggs, yogurt, fish, beans, gives your body what it actually needs to rebuild a little stronger each time. One more thing worth knowing. Every mistake on this list carries more consequence after 50 than it did at 30, because your joints, vessels, and muscles simply have less resilience to absorb the same error. A habit your body shrugged off at 30 can quietly turn into real symptoms at 55. If you're comfortable sharing, drop your age in the comments. It genuinely helps me know which of these 7 hits closest to home for the people actually watching. 2 quick things before the checklist, because I know what's coming up in your head right now. Bad weather and not enough time. Both are solvable without much effort. For weather, an indoor mall, a large covered space, or even repeated laps around your own hallway on a bad day keeps the habit alive without needing perfect conditions outside. The 7 mistakes we covered still apply indoors. For time, remember the frequency point from earlier. 10 minutes done consistently beats a perfect hour you only manage once a month. Split it if you need to. A short walk after breakfast and another after dinner adds up to the same benefit. A realistic timeline for these 7 fixes together. Many people notice steadier energy and less next-day stiffness within 1 to 2 weeks of correcting pace and posture alone. Joint comfort and balance confidence tend to build more gradually, over 4 to 8 weeks of consistency. None of these 7 changes require more time out of your day than you're already spending walking. You're not adding a new habit, you're correcting the one you already have. And these 7 don't operate in isolation. Fix your posture and your breathing improves. Fix your pace and your joints tolerate the correct posture better. Add arm swing and your balance improves. which matters even more once your phone is out of your hand. Each correction makes the next one easier to hold. Here's the practical version: 7 things to actually do, starting with your very next walk. 1. Slow start rule. 3 to 5 minutes of deliberately easy pace before you speed up every single time. 2. Check your posture right now. Stand tall, shoulders back, eyes on the horizon, and try to reproduce that feeling on your next walk. 3. Look at the soles of your walking shoes. If they're a year or more old with regular use, it's time to replace them. 4. Aim for 5 to 6 shorter walks a week instead of one long one. Start with 3 if that's more realistic right now. 5. Let your arms swing naturally, out of the pockets, elbows loose. 6. Phone stays in your pocket for the whole walk. Earbuds only if you need audio. 7. A glass of water and 5 minutes of stretching when you're done. Walking after 50 is still one of the most accessible, effective tools you have for your heart, your joints, and your balance. You don't need a gym or special equipment. You need the mechanics right, and now you know what that actually looks like. Pick just one of these 7 to fix this week, not all 7 at once. Small, correct movement, done consistently, outperforms a perfect routine you can't sustain. This video was written and researched with AI assistance, reviewed for accuracy. It's general educational information, not personal medical advice, especially if you have an existing joint, heart, or balance condition. Talk to your own doctor about what's right for you. If this was useful, subscribing genuinely helps this channel keep going, and I read every comment. They shape what gets covered next.